again.
It always is. It keeps
like
coming.
This week's going by way too fast.
So fast. It's already November.
And now it's going to be December, and it's going to be the new year.
Nice.
And then we're going to be doing this for 4 months?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's super fast.
But we're ready for a new year.
Yes, that's for sure.
That's good. And we have all these great books to show you in the process. What's better in a new year than having new books to read?
Yeah. And that's why you come and join. And you watch us to see what kind of new books you can add to that list, because, of course, we're a library and we have tons.
Oh, heck yeah. And we're always getting more books. So today we have some really interesting books for you that I didn't even realize we had until Dani started showing me how cool they are. But we wanted to talk a lot about classics this month. And so we have all of these classics at the library that are actually in our YA section that are manga classics.
Right. And what's a manga? Manga is like a comic book. It's just a comic book that you don't read the normal way. You read it a little bit backwards. So, like how we hold a book like this, and we would open it this way and read it. You don't do that. You open it from back here, and you start from back here, and then you read it that way. Don't worry, these books come with instructions on how to read them, because it's where do we start? But they're really neat.
And they have pictures, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like a comic book. So it's really, fun to read and go through the whole story.
It helps turn those classic books that are just there's so much text to a little bit more exciting. And it works for a younger audience or those who can't keep their attention too much focus on books that are text heavy, and it gives a nice little break.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I feel like if there was a book that I was just getting, having trouble getting through because it was a classic, I would read one of these versions. And then maybe also it would make me want to read the actual version after a while if I could make it through these. So these are just a great idea, I feel like. But
yeah, and we have an entire series, and of course there's going to be classics that we think are classics, or some that we might have forgotten, or they might be oh, well, what about that classic? Let us know, because I know there has to be a bunch that we totally missed or jumped over or skipped over looking for them, because there's so much literature that are just you know what, this should be one for the books.
Mm-hmm.
But do you want to go ahead and get started?
I do. I actually really want to talk about Jane Eyre, because it's my favorite book.
Is it really?
I love Jane Eyre, yeah. And so I am very intrigued by this version of it. And so yeah, I'll read the back of it and hopefully you'll be interested. But yeah, I love Jane Eyre. And I love, there's lots of different movie adaptations too, which are fun. But okay, this one says, experience classic tales in manga format. As an orphan child, Jane Eyre is expected to be humble and grateful, but her wild spirit will not be tamed or broken, despite the abuse she endures. As an adult, Jane finds her soul's match in the brooding Mr. Rochester, but their love is not enough to overcome the dreadful secret hidden within the very walls of his estate. Ooh. That's it. It says a little bit more, but I don't want to give too much away. I have to just leave it there. But
she's but trust me, you should read it.
You have to read it. I'm trying to convince you. But yeah, this is a really good classic book, and I think it would just be so much fun to read it with all of the pictures. So
and how it really puts faces to it and characters, so that way you can try to get and latch onto them. Oh my gosh, look at this.
Yeah, I'm already looking at it. I'm oh, I know where that is. So
I know that part.
Yeah, I love it.
And we have tons of them too. There's Macbeth. In manga format, we have the Scarlet Letter in manga format, and look at that. Look how they have it drawn.
I know, I love the style of the drawings.
And there's this one, Romeo and Juliet. What a classic right there. And images.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. And of course, everybody knows the Romeo and Juliet story. How can you not know it?
Mm-hmm.
But it takes, in classic manga, or putting in manga format, a classic Shakespeare tragedy, Romeo and Juliet, is a tale of two star-crossed young lovers who dare to defy their feuding families, put aside all obstacles, and find happiness together, but at a tremendous cost. This grimly beautiful tale is set in Renaissance Italy. It follows Romeo and Juliet from their fatal first meeting to their last. And, look at this. It really puts that in there,
I love their facial expressions.
It's full-blown manga form. If you've ever read manga or you've never even read manga, this might be the way to introduce you to reading a whole new series you would have never thought you would have touched.
Yeah, it's cool because there's probably people, like, classics and manga, a lot of times don't really go together. So there's probably people who've never read manga but have read classics.
Yeah.
And so this is, like, cool for them. And then maybe the opposite, people who love manga but haven't read classics. So.
And then they're like, well, I'm never going to read a classic. That's just too much. Like, perfect.
Yeah,
hello.
perfect. So much fun. And they seem kind of thick, but it's because there's so many pictures. And there's, like, all the little bubbles of words. So it's really not that much. I think that it's very attainable. I was going to say, we have a couple of Jane Austen ones. I really like Jane Austen, too. And there's Emma. I don't know if you've seen the new movie version of Emma.
I haven't seen the movie.
I really liked it. I thought it was really good. And there's Sense and Sensibility. So those are two, like, huge classics of Jane Austen. I'll read the back of Emma since I talked about that one. It says, just in time for its 200th anniversary, Jane Austen's classic tale of youthful folly and romantic exuberance comes to life for a modern audience with this beautiful new adaptation of Emma. Both humorous and heartrending, this classic story of Emma Woodhouse's impulsive matchmaking shines brighter than ever thanks to lush artwork that highlights the wit, charm, and romance of the original novel.
That's cute.
Pretty fun.
Of course, you can't have a classic, or at least I feel like you can't have a classic without mentioning The Jungle Book.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's a couple other ones, but we'll get to those in, like, our next episode. So make sure you come back on Tuesdays, because we're going through all types of classics.
Oh, yeah.
But there's The Jungle Book, and if you haven't heard of The Jungle Book, it is heavily influenced by his childhood liking British ruled India. Rudyard Kipling created some of the most well-read children's stories in the Western culture. Originally published as a series of short stories for magazines in the late 1800s, the Nobel Prize-winning Rudyard Kipling would eventually publish his classic book, The Jungle Book, in 1894. That brings brilliant fables to the new audience in their faithful, unabridged adaptation of the stories like Mowgli's Tales, Rikki Tikki Tavi. Never even knew that it was multiple. I thought it was one story. Look at that.
I know, I thought so too.
I always read them as one story. Mind blown. The White Seal and more, all into your manga series.
Yay.
Look at that action. Look at those drawings. Like, if we haven't sold you enough on you guys need to check these out, then I mean, like,
so cool.
you guys need to check these out.
And there's something for everybody. Like, even, like, how we're like, oh, they're classics, they're manga. But, like, I don't know. There's just, like, The Jungle Book is very different than Jane Austen. So there's, like, so many great stories and genres, even within classics. So let us know. We can definitely give you a recommendation.
Do we have any other ones we want to show? I think that.
I don't know. I think we, like, encompassed it all pretty well.
Yeah, it's all there.
I'm convinced. Are you?
I hope so.
I, like, check them all out. I'm like, sorry, guys, you can't
check them out. Not yet. But they are available for checkout here at the library. There are some within the Pinal County system too, so if there's some we don't have here, other libraries within our system might have them. So do definitely visit, check those out, place them on hold, read them. Let us know in the comments how you feel about it, what you think, or if there's any other classics you think we should read.
Definitely.
But other than that, that's all we got for today.
Yeah. Remember to like and subscribe.
All right, bye you guys.